Hello, YouTube world. I am your hillbilly rideshare driver. I'm in West Virginia. I wanted to stream a little bit about talking about Uber's fairly new, at least new to this area, um, long distance pickup fees. I'm not sure what the distance is, but I kind of wanted to talk about my feelings, whether it's good or bad, riders' reactions, that kind of stuff. So I've had a few that have some pretty hefty fees. Anywhere from $6 to $14. Talk about kind of two sides of the coin. I personally, it's good for drivers, yes. Is it bad for riders? I'll talk about that too. First, the rider side. When they request a ride, if there's no drivers in the area, basically it will pick the next closest driver outside of a certain range. There again, I don't know what that is. I've heard 8-9 miles. I think it's a little farther than that, but I could be wrong. But anyway, once they request a driver, if there's none in the area, it'll basically let them know what the price is, and it'll pull a driver from another area over a certain distance. Well, if they need a ride, they'll be charged that additional fee. If they accept it, they don't have to accept it, so it's priced up front. But so far, the reactions I've been getting, the customers sometimes aren't happy about it when there isn't a driver in the area. And that could reflect on the driver if they happen to be mad at the driver. They can take it out on the ratings or whatever. But with that said, I'll take dollars over stars. Stars don't buy me anything. I've had a couple of passengers that were a little upset about it. There's one lady in particular that I'll usually get her once a week. She goes to the same place and she asks me to wait to take her back home. It's a fairly short ride, and if I'm in another town, I'm 15 miles away, and she requests a ride, even with the wait period, even with her asking me to wait and round trip, the ride's like $4. Maybe 5, depends, 4 something. I'll show you. Here it is. Pull it up. Even with the wait, it was $4.09. Even with the wait, round trip. So it's a really short trip, and excuse me. It's a really short trip, and if I have to drive 15 miles there and 15 miles back, well, that's 30 miles. I mean, that's my gas. $4 is going to be my gas up and back, so it isn't really worth it. And if I saw it come up and I wasn't getting paid the extra fee, I wouldn't accept it. Yeah, she has kind of smartened up, and she hit me up on Lyft one time, and I went up there and picked her up on Lyft. But and that may be her strategy, but at least on Lyft I can see who it is. I can see the name, and sorry for anybody with the name Melissa that pings me out in Lyft and it's too far away. But she essentially, I mean, it was a $4 ride. She made a comment whenever she hit me up on the Lyft that she didn't want to pay $20 to for the ride, the additional fee. Well, sorry about your luck. You know, if I was in Fairmont, and I happened to be in Fairmont today, I was already up there. Somebody else had requested me to come up there, and they paid the additional fee. And I happened to be there whenever her ping came through, and I did the run. It was no brainer. But that's Fairmont, West Virginia, and I'm currently sitting in Bridgeport, Clarksburg. The population in Clarksburg and Bridgeport, this particular area, is quite a bit more than Fairmont, and the demand for rideshare in Clarksburg and Fairmont is far greater than in Fairmont, albeit not as demanding, not as in demand as I would like them to be. Anyway, of course, she wasn't happy about it, but she never tips. She never even rates. I don't believe I've ever seen her rate anything, any ride that I've given her, period. Not real sure. Most of the time well, I'm not going to comment on that, but now I just got a ride, which was this ride here, $17.70, and $14.23 was in the long pickup fee. Well, as you can imagine, they weren't extremely pleased about that either, and I wouldn't be pleased about it necessarily. Sorry, get some heat going. I'm sitting in my truck, and it's -5 outside. So, needless to say, I don't think I would be extremely happy with that fee either. But keep in mind, their trip was a half mile, and at -5 degrees, it became worth it. They weren't happy about it, but I don't care. I'm not going to drive 30 miles for probably would have been minimum $3. I probably would have made more in a cancellation fee than I would have to drive up there and back, but or to take them the short distance they wanted to go. So I just thought I'd throw that out there and try to explain to everyone kind of what the whole long pickup fee is all about. It's overall, yeah, it may upset a few people because they're paying more, but you know, for the driver, it's great. We don't have surge in this town. I've never seen it surge, not even on New Year's. And most of the pickups aren't close by, unless you happen to be sitting near a popular bar or something. And that does happen to an extent, but you know, and it isn't a hidden fee. It isn't anything like that. The customer, the rider, knows what they're going to be paying, and they can make a decision based on that. So it's not ripping anybody off. It's compensating the driver for the long distance. And I would say that, you know, it's imagine how frustrating it would be for Uber to look at the number of rides that have gone unanswered because of the distance, or how many riders have wanted to request a ride, but there was no drivers in the area. And you know, I think it's a great thing. I wish Lyft would pick it up. We're not real busy with Lyft here. If I go up to Morgantown, you know, Lyft's a little busier, but the people in Morgantown use Lyft as sort of a buffer or a plan B if if Uber's surging too much and the prices are too high at certain hours, they'll jump over on Lyft. And I'm not real fond of Lyft. Sometimes when I drive in Morgantown, I won't even turn Lyft on because some of the shenanigans they've been doing. Real quick, the biggest thing I don't like about Lyft, and I really, like I said, a lot of times I haven't even been running Lyft. I will in this area because it's slower overall, and quite frankly, I'll take what I can get when I run here because the runs are generally longer. In Morgantown, a mile and a half is probably the average, and it's it's basically students going from their dorms or their apartments to the bars downtown, and I'd say the average is probably a mile and a half, maybe. And certain times of the day, it can take you an extremely long period of time to get to them and to take them. So, you know, when you're driving a mile and a half and it's taking you 10-15 minutes to get somebody to their destination, you're not making much money and it's taking you forever. So it isn't like you're you're doing 10 rides an hour. So, you know, like I said, sometimes I'll turn Lyft completely off, just not to force. Well, yeah, I guess it is. But I'm not trying to force people into taking a higher price ride with Uber. I sort of am, but it isn't for that reason. It's because I don't want to take a Lyft ride. I would rather take an Uber ride, or an Uber request, I should say, because I'm out. You know, the bottom line is, you know, I gotta make the money. That's what we do it for. But anyway, what the reason that I'm really, I know a lot of people say they like Lyft better. They, you know, from a driver standpoint, maybe that's fine, but Lyft really doesn't show you the calculation on your how they calculate your trip. You just basically says this is what you earned, and that's what you earned. It doesn't break it down in time and miles like Uber does. So I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, you know, Lyft can just put a number there and say anything. You really don't know whether they lower or raise their rates or whatever they want to do. But the biggest thing that really torqued me with Lyft is that we're contractors. As contractors, legally, we have the right to say who gets in our car. So if we want to, you know, for instance, if I see someone come up and they have like a 4.5, 4.6 rating, sometimes I won't take that unless I need a ride. If it's lower than 4.5, I'm sorry, I'm not taking them. I'm not going to pick them up because they're, you know, drivers have had problems with them apparently, or you know, they're a problematic passenger. So I don't generally, unless, you know, I just accidentally accept it without looking at their rating, catching their rating. So we as contractors have the right to say who gets in our car. Well, Lyft has this little loophole where they'll send you a request for a 5-star or 4-star or whatever. You'll see their rating, and you accept the request. Once you accept the request, you get on your way, and a couple minutes later you get a notification that the rider has changed his pickup location, or their pickup location. That's the only notification you get. And basically what that's meant for is that if that rider was, say at a bar, and he decided he was going to walk 2 blocks down to 7-Eleven to pick up a pack of smokes or something to take home with him, and just wants you to pick them up there, they can change your location and it'll tell you to go there instead of the bar. Well, what Lyft does is they will send you a notification. You could be on your way to the place to pick little Johnny up, and you get a notification that the rider has changed his pickup location. Okay. Well, you might be going in a complete opposite direction, and you have to backtrack. And turns out you might not be picking up Johnny, you might be picking up Joanne. It's a completely different person. So what they've done is they basically waited till you accepted a ride and pulled a bait and switch on you, and you have no idea that they even switched riders on you, let alone what their rating is. And even if they did, at that point, if you canceled, that's a black mark by your name. And if you do that very often, then they'll deactivate you if your cancellation rate goes up, is too high. So to me, I think that's dirty, and I personally am not real excited about driving for Lyft, mainly for that reason. And I don't drive for Lyft any more than absolutely necessary. Depends on what area I'm in. Like I said, if I'm in a slow area, I'll take what I can get. And right now, I'm not getting a whole lot. But looks like College Town surging. That's the only place it surges. That's the reason I know that. Take a look. Yeah, it's not surging very much. That area out there, about the only thing out there is a strip club, so there's probably just not any drivers out that way. Probably have a request or two for 1.6. It's probably probably just a few people wanting to get out of the strip club. But anyway, I don't know if anybody's watching. I'm not even sure here. Let's see what's going on. Everybody's commenting. Da da da. Nobody. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on the whole thing. So anyway, if you catch this video somewhere, somehow, some way, you like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Just getting the channel started. Get enough people subscribing, maybe I'll do some live streaming while I'm driving. Give you an idea of what it's like to be a driver. Not much going on there. Let's check and see if there's any other drivers in the area. There's Uber. I don't see any other drivers. That's what everybody's telling me. Get rid of that app. It's kind of laggy anyway. All right. Yep, as you can see, I have 97 5-stars, 4.9 earnings for tonight, $52. I don't think anybody's tipped. Got a couple dollars in cash tips. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Gotta go find a restroom somewhere, and peace out, people.